How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to the Enclave, South Africa's premier firearms education channel. So, in today's video, unfortunately, I don't really come to you with much education, if any. I, don't really come to you with many of my, you know, usual perks, and that upsets me. Um, but unfortunately, we're in a position where we have to talk about the rioting, looting, organized crime, um, all those sort of things that have taken place up till today. It started a few weeks ago in Durban. Um, so obviously, as I'm sure many of you know, the former president of South Africa was arrested, and I think that that potentially didn't have a whole load to do with what has come since. And that's mostly based on sort of testimony from the people looting, from the people rioting. Many of them that were interviewed, to be quite frank, didn't give two shakes of a bird's tail whether Mr. J.G. Zuma was imprisoned or not. They were just getting while the getting was good, you know? They were just taking the opportunities that they saw fit. In a time where, to be honest, the country can't afford it. We are sitting on some ridiculous day of lockdown. I think we're up into the 500s now, days of lockdown. People are at their wits' end when it comes to so many things in this country, be it the constant load shedding. And when we don't have load shedding, I've still had power cuts. They might not last 2 hours on the dot. Sometimes they last more. Sometimes they last less. So for people to say, oh, but you haven't had load shedding in a while, stop complaining. Um, I haven't. No, I haven't had the benefit of knowing when my power was going to go out. I've just randomly had these power outages all the damn time. Like one time, I will admit, someone stole the cable on our road because this is the country we live in. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do this video, to be quite frank. I don't know if I'm just going to put video of the violence of the rioting, the looting over my face, or if I'm just going to put up some clips here and there to sort of, just keep everyone entertained. I don't want y'all getting bored with my face. But I really do sit in a position where when I originally made this video, I was concerned that I would be arrested for it because of what I had to say. Um, I invited people to join a militia. I basically called for people with arms to set up vigilante groups in their areas. I wanted to create a new police force, in essence, of people who were just not going to stand by while the police forces did. That is like the extent that the last video got to, is that I was this far from inciting a a coup, like, to be quite honest with you guys, because that was in the midst of everything going down. I had everyone I knew at home. I had my wife not able to conduct business, her entire family not able to conduct business, my mom and all of her colleagues unable to conduct business up here in Johannesburg. Um, that's not even to say, I might put up a voice note here from one of my friends down in Durban who literally had people on his street destroying people's homes, claiming whatever property they saw fit, gate motors, gates, like, for the scrap metal, like literally anything you could think of. And to be quite honest, like I said in the beginning, I think the former president being arrested was a convenient excuse. And here's why I think that. This is not the first time that we've experienced this. I actually remember when I first met my wife, before she was my wife, and I'm sure I've still got video of it back on an old phone or something. It was not last year, the year before. We had these mass countrywide riots, countrywide lootings, robbings, all these things because of xenophobia, because the people of South Africa were tired of illegal immigrants taking their jobs. And again, we had businesses being looted, burnt, destroyed. And everyone was like, no, it's just the immigrants. No, it wasn't. Like, it wasn't just the immigrants that were affected by that. Again, my wife was literally sending me videos from her windows of her building as people were throwing rocks at the building and beating each other to death in the streets. Like, this is not the first time this has happened. Unfortunately, with all the issues with COVID, all the issues with the lockdown, people losing their basic freedoms, us being locked down at night, curfewed, like, yeah. it's it's not the first time it's happened. And that wasn't the only time it happened. A year or two before that, again, I can recall riots, looting, things like that. Nowhere on the scale of what we've seen now, and it's still happening. I'm still being sent footage today. It is the 2nd of July. I am still receiving videos today of people rioting and looting. Like, I don't know what the solution is. And I think that's why, after abandoning my vigilante group like idea, I didn't immediately make a new video because I don't know what to do. What I want to do is not necessarily ethical, it's not necessarily legal. But I'll be quite honest, I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else to fix this problem. Like, it's not the only problem. Like I mentioned, ESCOM being an issue, the perpetual lockdown. Like, I don't even want to get into the complete and utter nonsense with our vaccine system. Like, we are behind countries that I can't even pronounce because I've never even heard the names said. I've never even heard of these places, but we're behind them in vaccine countries. I look at places when I watch YouTube, when I watch other things, like, that are fully back to normal, where everyone is out and about, no masks, no social distancing, being able to take their family out to dinner without it being some weird event. Like, I want to be there. I also want to be one of those countries who can get back to normal, you know? But we can't because our vaccine rollout is one of the slowest in the world. And on top of that, we're one of the few countries I know of shooting for a 60% herd immunity rate. The herd immunity rate for coronavirus is not 60%. I'm sorry to tell you that, guys. You can do the research. I'm not going to anti-vax. I'm not going to put conspiracies out there. I am telling you what I take in from other countries, much more reputable countries, in my opinion. 60% is not going to cut it. So if that's where we're striving for, we still got another 30+% to worry about. So, yeah, there's a lot of things I feel like we're doing wrong right now. And yeah, I really don't know how to fix it. I really do recommend people get vaccinated. Like I'm sort of waiting for my turn. I can't say I'm not scared. Like, let this little segment here serve as a reminder. I am scared to get this vaccine. I do not know why. It's not based on logic. It's not based on anything. It's just based on a feeling I have. I am concerned about getting this vaccine. I'm the type of person who gets flu shots. I got my flu shot last year. I think I got my flu shot the year before that. I'm not someone who's against vaccines or against having things put in my body. Like, ooh. But I do have this underlying dread, I guess, when it comes to the thoughts of this vaccine. But I do still recommend you get it. You're not going to be able to travel without it. You're not going to be able to go to your job without it. So, like, that's another thing that's concerning me right now is that I really believe we need to get everyone in this country vaccinated, every single person. But I don't see it happening for another year or two, to be quite honest with you. Like they tried to do it by age, and like I sort of get that. A lot of other countries did that as well. But then you sort of had the issues of the age groups they let go first were the most reluctant and the least mobile groups. And that sort of makes it an issue as well globally. Like I don't know if I would have done things the same way as far as that goes. But anyway, like all that aside, I feel like there's a bigger problem here. Like we can take the looting, the rioting, the lack of vaccine rollout, the issues with ESCOM, the shady deals with Cuban, like what. I understand that we have like a relationship with Cuba because they assisted during the transition from an apartheid government to a non-apartheid government. I get that. I get that when no one else in the world wanted to, trade with us, Cuba did. I can appreciate that. And I can appreciate that in some way our government feels like they owe them. But when you see how many people are out on the streets, homeless, broke, with no food, no jobs, no nothing, and then you find out that we're hiring hundreds of people from overseas to do jobs that, quite frankly, we have people here who can do them. That speaks to bigger issues again. Like the government doesn't care about us. It cares about photos at the G7 summit and those things. I I saw Cyril at like a global peace summit or something on YouTube, and he had the biggest grin on his face of anyone there. Big smiles, waving. Yeah, yeah, we made it. We made it. Like that's what our politicians care about. Is the press. I mean, how often has Cyril spoken to us? Like it's like almost every week. How often do our presidents speak to us? Normally, they don't. Like, not like this. And for me, yeah, it's all a bigger problem than just like the lockdown or the rioting or the looting. I feel like the government wants us to flip out. Like I think the ANC wants us to just start killing people, to just start a race war. I truly believe that is what they want. If you look at Enka, there was a story. I actually wanted to cover this and I didn't. There was a story about a high school that organized a matric dance privately. Private parents of selected students arranged a private matric farewell or matric dance, whatever you want to call it, because the students weren't going to be getting one. And all of a sudden, it was turned into this racial debate. It was just white people, blah, 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 blah. But I'm sorry to say, A, wasn't just white people, and B, it was people who were willing to do something about it. It was a group of parents who decided that they didn't want a huge memory of their children to be gone. Um, I do apologize if you guys can hear the dog barking. Like I can't get up and stop her now. But yeah, like that was portrayed, well, attempted to be portrayed by ENCA and all these other ANC owned and run news sources, that it was this huge racial thing. It was this attack on the students of color in that school. And I'm sorry to say, but that is when I first started to realize that this is the aim of our government and media, and is to create racial divide, because I think they want a civil war. I think the ANC knows that unless they create massive conflict, they are going to be voted out of this country. They are going to be voted out of power in the next set of elections, because it is blatantly obvious to everyone now, be it the rich, be it the poor, be it the whatever creed, color, religion, it's become apparent to everyone. This government just cannot provide what it needs to provide. And like at the end of the day, they're already trying to stop that. I mean, they're doing their damnedest to push back the regional elections, or whatever it is, forget what they call it, the like sort of local elections. I think it's municipal elections is what it's called. They're trying to push that back because they say it's unsafe for people to vote, blah, 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 blah. It's unsafe for all this. And like, this is where all this that I've been talking about sort of comes into effect. Think about it. If they take longer to vaccinate everyone, they can keep us under lockdown. If they keep us under lockdown, that's good justification to not have an election. If we don't have an election, because, well, we can't go to sporting events, we can't do this, we can't group in more than 50 people, we can't do that. So, of course, we can't have an election. They then going to remain in power in the local section. And because they remain in power in the local committees, that will push the general elections back. No doubt they'll find a way to, keep us there for the next 3 years until the general elections. They'll find a way to postpone those as well, and then they stay in power. But that's sort of the long game. The short game, in my mind, just cause a civil war, just cause a racial divide so big that people of different races, as we saw now, people are saying they're going to kill the Indians, they're going to attack the Indians because the Indians were defending their property, and how dare they? Okay, so there we go. We've successfully got now in Durban a small race war between Indians and Zulus. Like, so already we have a divide being created. And I believe that that is the goal. Keep us locked down by, we got in a ton of vaccines just to sell them to another country because we didn't want them, just to buy back the same brand of vaccines. Because the vaccine that I'm most likely going to get is the vaccine that we first imported. So, good choice there. Like, delay us months in the vaccine rollout just to roll out the same vaccine. Why? because you want to keep us locked down. They want to keep us here in our homes where we can't group, where it's illegal for us to form a group to defend our properties, where people are being arrested for defending their property. There was a letter that was sent out from the courier guy, I believe it was, where they had paid for additional armed security at their depots in Durban. The military and police rolled into their depot and said that if you defend this property, we will see you as the aggressors and we will shoot you. So this was sanctioned. This is sanctioned by the South African National Defence Force, the South African Police Service, and the ANC government. You look at that issue with the 1.5 million rounds of ammunition gone. That was the police. You look into that story. The police held that shipment in Durban. Never happened before. They held that shipment in Durban. That shipment stood 15 odd containers high. And yet someone managed to get up there, knew exactly which container it was, and looted 1.5 million rounds of ammunition. The only people who knew exactly where and what was in that container were the people whose bullets it was and the police. Look into it more if you want. But that alone, the fact that they held it there, they were the only ones who knew where it was, and it got looted. Sorry, guys, but when your chain of information is so small, when it gets broken, it's real easy to see where the weak link is. And I can assure you, it wasn't the people whose bullets it were, because they immediately were freaking out about it. And yeah, like it's to me all a ploy. It's all a grand plot to make sure that short term there's a race war, there's a civil war, which will obviously keep the government as it is because there will not be elections during a civil war. We all know that. That's how people like Mugabe and things stay in power for 100 years because they just make sure the country is constantly at war. And yeah, like at the same time, we're sending like R1 billion worth of troops up to go fight ISIS or something. Guys, we need those resources here. We don't need to be helping other countries right now. We are not Britain. We are not the US. We do not have expendable resources to be sending up to other countries. I'm sorry. Like I believe Africa first, South Africa first. When we fixed all our crap, like how many people could that R1 billion help? A lot. Like a lot. And yet it's gone. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling. I don't even know how long this video is. I can't see the screen when I'm recording in 4K. But yeah, I feel like we've got so many really big fish to fry in this country, and we're not we're not doing any of it. We're not getting anything done that we need to get done. And I feel like honestly it's a big ploy. It's a big I don't want to say the word conspiracy because conspiracy implies a lack of evidence, a lack of logic, things like that in my mind. If you look into it and you connect the dots, it does all look like one big plan. They've got the media reporting one-sided stories if they're racial. They look for the racial angle on any other story that isn't overtly racial. In a time where, I'm sorry, I think most people in South Africa right now have much bigger things to worry about than the race of the man standing next to them or woman standing next to them. I really don't think many people in South Africa give a damn about that anymore. But that doesn't help the ANC government. That doesn't help the EFF. Who, if anyone's voting for the EFF because they think they're different to the ANC, these people are all having lunch and coffee and tea and whatnot together on a daily basis. They are allies. They're all working towards the same goal. which is a racial divide in this country. And they're going to get it, unfortunately. And when it happens, there's not going to be a way to stop it. Like, once the war starts, there's going to be no way to say, this isn't what we wanted. Because once the people have snapped, the people have snapped. Like, you're not going to stop them. And yeah, I guess that's my feeling on this whole situation. Like, yeah, I don't know what else to say, to be honest, other than the fact that the violence is disgusting, the looting is disgusting, just the acts of these people, it's disgusting. Like, it makes me sick to my stomach. It has people who've been in this country their whole lives who thought they'd never want to leave, begging for a way out because of just how abhorrent this whole thing is. But anyway, I don't think I have anything else to say. I I feel like everyone needs to get on or get out. If you can't have, like I'm looking at now, firearm over there, crossbow over there, summon over there, you should probably get out the country. If you can't live life like you're in the middle of Fallujah, you should try and get out. Because soon there's not going to be a choice. Soon we're all going to have to fight. And I truly do believe that. Like, honestly, get armed. I think that's one of the reasons I do this channel, is to try and get people past the steps that I can help with. Like, I can't help you convince your DFO to give you your license. And it's not even get into the fact of that, because that's another thing. They want us trapped here and unarmed. And yeah, it's why your competency is going to take so long. They don't want you armed. We already have too many guns. We already have more guns than them. If they actually wanted a war where the police and the army were like the main force driving this revolution, we'll take them out in 20 minutes. Genuine. We outnumber them firearm-wise 10-1. So, yeah. Like, I think it's all a ploy to have us defenseless, to have us locked in our homes so we can't congregate, so we can't discuss these issues. And yeah, I think within the next 3-4 years, we will be at war, one way or another. We will either have a government trying to steal this country, or they will have successfully managed to turn us against each other, which I just want to put out there. I don't want that. Yeah. Anyway, that's that. I'm sure this is like a 3-hour video. I hope you all have just gotten to think about some things that I've said. Just think about it. I'm not saying you have to believe in the whole grand conspiracy and all that sort of stuff, but just think about it. Just think about how everything comes together to make us weaker as a group of people, and you'll see that there might be more to this than just coincidence. Peace.